What's up, Fox and Fox here, and today we are talking about the i7-4790 in 2025. Now, this is an old CPU, and I paired it with the GTX 1060 6GB because I thought that that would be a good pairing between the two, but some games would have benefited more from a stronger GPU. However, I still think that this is a pretty good pairing overall. Now, this is not the 4790K, so it is not overclockable, but it does have 4 cores and 8 threads with a base clock of 3.6 gigahertz and a boost of 4 gigahertz and a TDP of 85 watts. I took some of the most modern games to see how well this machine would run, and there's only a few games on this list. It's going to be a quicker video, but hopefully it gives you some insight into how the 4790 runs in 2025 against 2025 games, because older games are going to run a lot better on this CPU. If you're playing games from the 2010s, then you're going to have a great experience. But we're running the most graphically demanding games as well as some esports titles to see just how well they hold up today. Up first is an esports title, Marvel Rivals, at 1080p with the lowest preset. We saw an average frame rate of 46, a 1% low of 17, and a 0.1% low of 6.6. So it does indicate that the CPU did have some issues with jitter here and there, and the average frame rate left a little bit to be desired as well. Once again, if you had a better GPU, you could probably squeeze a better average frame rate, but the 1% and 0.1% lows also show that the CPU struggled to hold up as well. Counter-Strike 2 at 1080p with the high settings, because lower settings actually made the performance worse. We saw an average frame rate of 55, a 1% low of 23, and a 0.1% low of 17. So not quite playable for a competitive shooter like Counter-Strike, especially because lower settings make the performance worse. The 4790 is just not meant for Counter-Strike 2. GTA 5 Enhanced at 1080p with the lowest presets on average frame rate of 43 FPS, a 1% low of 32, and a 0.1% low of 22. So the CPU actually didn't do a terrible job holding up. The jitter wasn't nearly as bad as in other games. However, the GPU and CPU combination in this do show their age in the enhanced version of this classic game. Monster Hunter Wilds, a notoriously poorly optimized game, at 1080p with FSR set to ultra performance at the lowest preset, ran with an average frame rate of 21, a 1% low of 17, and a 0.1% low of 5. So the initial cutscene actually gave me some hope. It ran at like near 30 FPS. But once we got into actual gameplay, it performed much worse, and we did not get a playable frame rate out of this, even with FSR on ultra performance. Call of Duty crashed on startup to Verdansk, so good luck with that. I do think if this game were to run, it would run at 60 FPS or close to it on this setup, but unfortunately it did crash, so no luck here. And an older game, Cyberpunk 2077 at 1080p with FSR set to auto at the lowest preset, ran with an average frame rate of 67 FPS, a 1% low of 39, and a 0.1% low of 8. So the CPU, once again, showcases some jitter, but it's not nearly as bad, and I think you could pair this with a better GPU for Monster Hunter Wilds and Cyberpunk 2077 without having too much of a performance downgrade, and of course higher resolutions will make this run better as well. But in all, I think the 4790 has run its course, and I think that for 2025 games, you're just not going to be able to run them that well. But if you're playing older games, the 4790 is still, in my heart, one of the best performing CPUs of all time, one of the best that held up, but it has run its course. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, like, subscribe, do what you usually do, and as always, buy yourself something nice.